Okay. Get together, girl. Okay. Y'all ready? I'm ready. I'm ready. Good evening. Welcome back to Check That Pulse podcast, where we talk about life, love, and relationships. Sometimes we talk about emotional truths. Well, mostly all the time. But today's episode is a little bit different. It's going to be raw, honest. It's always honest. Mm-hmm. Most time it's raw. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about the movie Straw. And if you ain't seen it, you might want to scroll on past. Because we don't want to give away nothing. Mm-hmm. But we're going to discuss. Just a little informal discussion. Mm-hmm. Because Straw, the film that everybody is whispering about, it wasn't just a movie. Mm-hmm. It was a mirror. Mm-hmm. I saw me, and I'm pretty sure you saw you. Mm-hmm. A mirror for everyone who's ever been the glue that hold everything together. Mm-hmm. A safe space, a strong one, you know. Mm-hmm. We wear all those hats. Mm-hmm. Until we don't. Right. So let's get into it. Check That Post podcast. A podcast, again, like we said, about life, love, and relationships. I'm your host, Jen, and these are my beautiful co-hosts,
Queen and Christina.
We're happy to have you with us this evening to talk about the movie Straw. So, ladies, we're going to start off with this Dear Jen letter first. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to go deep. Dear Jen, I watched Straw last night. I didn't expect it to hit so hard, but it did. Not because it was tragic, not because it was dynamic, but because it was me. I feel you, girl. The quiet sighs that she let out while folding laundry, you know we all do that. Mm-hmm. The forced smile while listening to another person vent, needing her, draining her. The way she held it together until she simply couldn't. I felt seen. Then I felt ashamed. Because I've been taught never to drop the ball, to keep the peace, to handle it, to hold everyone else up, even while I'm falling apart inside. Watching her unravel felt like watching my own breakdown, one that I've been silently postponing for years. So here I am, writing to you because I don't know how to say this out loud. I'm tired, Jen. Tired of being the strong one. Tired of being the safe space for others while having nowhere to fall myself. Tired of people only noticing when I'm struggling after I hit the floor. Why do we have to break to be seen? Woof. I feel you, honey. I feel you.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way in some form of nature at some point in time in my life as well, where I just felt like, I was always, being there for everybody else, but like, not saying that nobody was there for me, I'm not saying that, but like, me, myself, I like to call myself independent. So, I don't like asking for help for anything really. If I can do it myself, I'm gonna do it, and that's no matter what it is. If
Right.
it's not financial, if it's financial, if it's not financial, if it's just doing something around the house, getting stuff taken care of, like regardless. Like I don't want to ask anybody for, especially for something that I can and am capable of doing myself. So, with that being said, even when it's offered, sometimes I'm like, oh no, I'm good, I'm okay. But not realizing that, like that could be a moment where, it was a moment where I could, kind of buckle a little bit and somebody was there to catch me. So I was like, I had to look at myself and think like, okay, I might play a part into why I feel this way, and there are really people, that are in my corner. They might not remind me every day, I might not talk to them every day, but I know, when I do speak to them that they got me if I need them. And that's what helped me, just taking a step back, just evaluating myself and the people that were around me, like, making sure that they were the people that were gonna or are capable of having my back, when I'm in a time of need, just like I've had their back in their times of need. So that would be my advice on that one.
Well, I'll say I felt that when you said, just talked about being seen. Why is it that a woman have to break in order to be seen or to be heard? And we're going to get into the movie, but let's talk about the response to the letter first. Because what you are feeling and what you've been through, which I don't know the exact things that you've been through, but if you felt this way, like the lady in the movie, then we know we've experienced that as well. You, the fact that you can look back on it and be able to talk about it. Sometimes people, they can't. They still hold that in. They don't want people to know. It's like a dirty little secret. They don't want to be seen as a so-called failure. They want to always be seen as the strong one. But I got to tell you, strong people fall too.
Right.
Strong people hurt too. Strong people get weak too. So, it's okay to reach out when you need help or when you just don't feel as strong. And I'm telling you, I can't wait to get into this part about this movie because it's just so, that's all of us in one way, shape, or form. We may not admit it, but that was all of us. And you didn't imagine it, because this movie, it really hit different. Like, I've seen some movies that affected me one way or the other, but this one kind of like triggered me. And I don't get emotional watching movies, but this one I got emotional.
Yeah, me too.
That mirror was reflecting big time.
Yeah, I was just thinking about when you're being pushed into that position, it can kind of get like real crazy for you because you're being taught how to be the best that you can be and go beyond, and sometimes you don't even know what that best that you could be. You don't even know how sometimes to go beyond that because it takes so much strength from you, because you're trying to be that perfect person that got it all together, and it takes so much from you. It's definitely a mental thing, and if we're not careful, we would be solving everybody's problems, doing everything for everybody, and when we really need them emotionally, they're not there. You know, and sometimes we can insert ourselves there, like, oh, I'll do it. I'll do it. And I think we do that a lot of times because we know that's the next request that's going to be coming, you know, to us. Like, and he'd be like, well, I'll go ahead and do it. Well, just let me do it. Or if we're not trying to fix it ourselves, do the work behind it, we're often sitting down and saying, well, let me just show you, talk you through how to do it, you know. But it's so emotionally draining, you know, because you got to insert yourself a lot of places where you don't want to be, and it takes time because a lot of time what you see how to bring somebody through, the other person may not see it, and you trying to teach them. Sometimes it becomes messy, and then when you see that it has become messy, be like, dang, it was just something simple, but it probably wasn't that simple for the other person. And a lot of things that we have brought on us, we're built for it. Believe it or not, we are built for it. Do we like that part of it? Not all the time. But the fact that we can go through it and come out on top, that's the great part about it, because there's lessons that we learn that we can teach somebody else. Yeah.
But you know, society have a dangerous habit of praising women for how much they can take, instead of asking why they being forced to take it in the first place.
That's true.
Honey,
That's true.
rest. Take your rest. You don't have to be strong 24/7.
That's right.
You deserve rest too. And hopefully you got somebody that's by your side that is waiting and willing to catch you when you fall. Like, it's beautiful when you can have someone to be there and be that rock for you. Like when you just so tired and you just can't do it anymore. You don't have to say nothing. They there and they telling you, just rest. I got it from here. Well, God is somebody that you can
Yes.
rely on.
Definitely that.
Number one.
He said, lay your burdens down.
Yes.
He said he would be your rest. He would be your peace. So, but if you just feel like you just got to have that physical person and you don't have that physical person, then, and which she tried in the movie, she tried reaching out for help, and which she couldn't get help. Nobody would listen, but we gonna get there. I can't wait. We're gonna get there. We're gonna break that down. But I just want you to know it's not weakness to reach out. That's my point.
That's right.
It's actually, it shows strength that you can talk about it and you know, don't stress about it because everybody's going through something.
Right.
It's okay. You I mean, don't feel like you showing weakness because you just being human. Like, you ain't built to be on top 24/7. You always in survival mode. You got to be able to rest. I know we good at multitasking and taking care of everybody and making sure everything's in order. But we have to rest too. We have to. Because you don't want to run yourself down, because mental health, you got to take care of it. You got to. You got to be able to rest your mind. You got to be able to be at peace at some point in time. But I know, you know, it's easy to sit up here and say, but when you're going through it and you just feel like there's nobody there and you feel yourself cracking and you keep going and going and going, and at any minute somebody gonna say something and gonna cause you to break. And you wondering, you telling yourself, I can't break now, I got kids to take care of. So you just push a little bit longer and be a little bit stronger until you can't.
Right.
Then you just, the floodgates just
They just
open up.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Sometimes you got to let that floodgate flow.
Right. Absolutely.
Because that in itself is a relief.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
You know, if you got to get in a corner, in your closet, in your prayer room and cry, do that. You can do that.
Yeah,
Ain't nobody gonna judge you for it.
Not at
that's
all.
right.
So,
That's right. And you know, at any time in your life you have a shift, and we have to stop and find out where did that come from, what happened, because sometimes in life we can have some things that take place that can really just pull us all way out of pocket there.
yes.
And it's better to deal with it doing a place where it won't put you where you have major health problems. It may not look like it, the things that you're dealing with in life will put you there, like with your health and everything. But sometimes the stuff that you have on the heart, that's pressing so much on the heart,
Yeah.
and you're not noticing it because you keep going and going and going and going. When you have these things in the back of your head, you're going and you're not taking the time to deal with those things. And then sometimes you have an illness that has been creeping because you had not dealt with them. Because what's in that heart, it'll stay in that heart until you start to empty out. And I speak from experience. Just trying to be that superwoman, you know, trying to fix everybody but me, and focusing on fixing everybody but me.
Yeah.
And so the things that was personal to me, I didn't used to think that I didn't have time to deal with those situations in my life because I had children and I had to keep moving for them. I couldn't afford at the time to have a breakdown. So those personal things, I just kind of pushed them in the back, like, no, I ain't got time to deal with them. So I don't have time for a breakdown. I gotta work. I gotta take care of my kids, and as long as my kids is good and be there for everybody, whether it was church or relatives or just friends. I was just that go-getter type person, just making it happen for everybody but myself.
Yes.
You know, and when life happened to me in the form of sickness, as I laid there on that hospital bed, everything flooded back to me, the things that I did not deal with. Had I taken the time to deal with all of my personal problems, then perhaps that situation may not have took place in my life. It's like everything came flooded back. It's everything I remember just like it was yesterday. Even stuff in my childhood that came back, you know. And I was like, wow, because I didn't stop to deal with those things, you know. So really, there was stuff in the heart that I totally hadn't even really dealt with to forgive anybody that had played a part in that, because I didn't ever deal with it. I just looked at it like, oh, well, this is just life, and sometimes things happen in life, and or people treat you a different way in life, you know. I just kept moving because I wanted to be strong for my family. My family, yes, they needed me, but I needed them more. I pushed forth through that with, it didn't matter about me, but it did. You know, I kept pushing them to be great, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Any parent wants to see their children become great. And I got engulfed in them, and whatever they wanted to do, you know, I pushed it. I'm the greatest cheerleader for them.
Right.
You know, and I've just had in my, it don't matter about me. It don't matter if I get a recognition for it or not. That's not what I was wanting. I wanted to push my kids, make sure they was great, you know. And but I forgot about, I needed to nourish and care for me, to keep me going, so that I could be there, not just for myself. That's first and foremost. I need to be there for myself. But in order for me to be there for myself, and my kids, you know, in order for me to be there for my kids, I had to be there for myself, to get me, make sure that I stay healthy, you know. But anyway, it's easy to get into that mode there where we just not taking care of us, and it's vital that we take care of us. And so there was a lot of stuff that I saw, and I know that it was God showing me that. He showed me that, you know, because there was so much that was going on that I was trying to do so much, you know. Not that I thought that it was just, I didn't need any help, that but God needed me to slow down and take care of me, you know. And 5 years and something later, when I look back on it, and I see the steps that I have made and how, you know, I've come out of it, but I still think about it sometimes, because it didn't really have to be, you know, because you don't need stress and all that kind of stuff in your life. And if you got that, you know, stress, you know, you got to get that out your life. You know, you can't move forward with that because it's not healthy, you know. And I could have left here. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that they you know, had said, that, you know, to call the family around, so you all knows what that happened. And so my family was emotionally out of whack because they didn't know if I was gonna be here or not, you know. And so I don't want my family to have to go through that again with me. So every day I get up, you know, I have to thank God for allowing me another day, you know, but also helping me to remember, you know, I got to stay strong, take care of me, make sure. And those things that I can't control, I have to let it go. Be like, no, I can't deal with that one. You know, that's too much, you know. Y'all make the decision, and then you let me know what you did. Because I can't do that. 'Cause I have to protect me. Who's gonna protect me? I have to protect me, you know. And I know God is my protector, but my loved ones and everything, you know, and they're good. They're good about, you know, helping me and saying, no, Margaret don't need all that. And so I'm grateful for my family that, you know, they're always and you know, Sis Yoga, I'm like, you good? Yeah, I'm good, you know, because they're looking out for me, you know. They don't feel pity for me, because they want me around. I want to be around.
Yes, indeed. So with all that said, to those strong women out there on the verge of breaking, you don't have to carry it all. You were never meant to. This is your permission to slip. In other words, this is your permission to not be perfect. Just be real. And when you're going through something and you feel like it's you against the world, and you feel like you just got to be strong and you just got to handle it. Nobody said that you have to handle it on your own. Get you a support system if you can, find one. And if all else fails and there's just, you look around, nobody in your corner, then start you a journal. But whatever you do, don't hold all that pressure in your heart, because that can cause, like Sis said, a bad health situation that you don't need or want. And especially if you have children, and You don't want to have to be stressing about who's going to take care of them. But just make sure you take care of you. Next agenda. So we can get into the movie. Dear Jen, I don't even know how to begin this. Maybe because I spent so much of my life beginning with everyone else. What they needed, what they expected, what they took. But I watched Straw last night, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel crazy. I felt seen. It was like watching the inside of my own head unfold on the screen. The way she smiled while screaming inside. The way she said, "I'm fine," on autopilot. The way she disappeared in plain sight. That's what broke me, Jen. Not the pain, the invisibility. I'm the one everyone calls when they're in a crisis. But when I go quiet, no one notices. When I withdraw, no one checks in. It's like people only love the version of me that gives. And I'm tired of giving pieces of myself away just to be worthy of keeping. What do you do when you've been the glue for so long and you forgot how to be whole? I'm telling you, when I say this movie is a mirror, it's a mirror.
Definitely been there before as well. Had those same type feelings, especially the only there, when you're giving. That one hit home for real. But, you gotta know, I'm just a giving person, so, I'm gonna do that. That's not gonna stop, but, you gotta know when people are taking advantage of it, and know when to leave certain situations alone. So I've learned, to be able to distinguish between the two. It might take a time or two. You might give me a time or two, but, eventually, I'll see, what's done in the dark come to the light, whatever you want to call it. Eventually it's going to play out and reveal itself, and I'll deal with it accordingly. And I hate that you feel like that way. It's not a good feeling to have, but just evaluate, the people around you, get closer to whoever you might believe in, the Most High, and lock in with him. He, like she said, he ain't gonna never leave you, never forsake you. He always gonna be there. That's one that you can always count on. You don't never have to worry about. For most of us, it's our moms. My mama. I know my mama. I ain't never gotta worry about my mama switching up, turning her back on me. No, none of that. I've never doubted her whatsoever. My aunt, never, not her either. Not even from birth. Like, I've never doubted neither one of these women. So, surround yourself with people that without a shadow of a doubt, gonna have your back, and you have theirs back as well. So.
Oh yeah.
Set boundaries.
Oh yeah.
The boundaries, they work very well, and so once you learn that method, you definitely be the one that's controlling, and not you being controlled.
Right.
Yeah, and you're not fading, you're awakening. You're awakening to your needs. And it's okay.
Right.
Awake to your truth. And you definitely need boundaries, because people that only love the version of you that gives, that's a problem. It's okay for you to show up as just being. Get out of survival mode. Don't fight to be strong, everything for everybody all the time. Be strong for you. Take a break. No, not today. I can't do you today.
Yeah.
Relax, chill, whatever it is that you want to do for you. It's okay to do that. Because nobody has the right to have all of you all the time.
Right.
You know, you can shut that down anytime. Just say no.
Yes. Absolutely.
They may not like it,
Not today.
but you're doing it for you.
Yes.
You know, because you don't want to be invisible to anybody until they need you.
Right.
We ain't gonna be doing that.
Right.
Don't let them do you like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold your head high and do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't feel like doing nothing, hold your head high and don't do nothing.
Right.
It's your life.
Yes, because you are enough.
Yes,
Right.
you are enough.
But I hope we said something that could kind of encourage y'all to take a deep breath, look in the mirror, and tell yourself that you got this.
Mm-hmm.
You've been strong long enough. You're going to relax and chill today.
Yes.
You're going to do you today.
Yeah, and don't wait till Mother's Day or Father's Day or, you know, just special occasions and stuff for
Right.
you to take that time that you need or to get that help that's being offered. Don't wait till those moments, you know. Receive. Like, if you're giving all the time, receive sometime, you know.
Right.
You have to, like, you're I don't know, it just make me appreciate it even more because, you know, I know that everybody ain't gonna give, you know, like I give, you know. So, like, when I do see somebody that does, I be like, oh, thank you. And they be like, thank you, I just gave you a pen, like. But I be so excited, like, ain't nobody ever gave me a pen before, you know, like, thank you so much. Like, I'm just grateful because, you know, it's not that average, you know, that somebody just gonna, you know, just be extra kind and giving to you, you know. So you can't take advantage, you know, when somebody does do that because it's kind of rare.
Right.
Yes. Again, you got this, girl. Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's get into this movie. Now again, this is the time you might want to move on if you hadn't seen it.
Right.
Because we finna get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think?
So overall, I was the same as you, emotional, very emotional, but I'm not gonna say not 100% emotional because, you know, I've been through, you know, what she was going through. You know, I experienced some of the things she's experienced, but, you know, I didn't have a journey like she had, in that I can't just say that day because, you know, she had been dealing with some stuff for some time. It just seemed as though, you know, a lot had happened in one day.
Yes.
But more so just having the compassion, knowing that, you know, yeah, I know people really do deal with this type stuff on a daily basis. And, you know, to be able to say, you know, I'm just grateful, you know, let's put it like that. I was able to feel, you know, some of the stuff that she felt because I've experienced some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, some of it, of course, you know, we all have different lives. We all taken our own different journeys. So, you know, we've gone down different paths, but there's been situations in my life to where, you know, people have talked down on me, you know, or down to me, like, you know, I'm nobody, you know, even though, you know, I might have been, you know, I could have not even been doing anything wrong, you know, just doing my job or doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing, minding my business, and then, somebody come out of nowhere, just bothering me, and talking to me like they crazy, and there was a point in my life where I was like, no, like, ooh, like, don't be yelling at me, like, don't talk to me like this, like, well, I was like, but I wouldn't come back and defend myself and speak up for myself and, be like, hey, you don't have to talk to me like that, or, that's mine, that belongs to me, can I have it, give me what belongs to me, or I'm gonna have to do what I need to do, to make sure I get what belongs to me, whatever the case may be. I've been in situations where I felt like I couldn't defend myself, in situations where, I was like, you know what, I'm not, you're not gonna talk to me like that. I'm not going for that. I treat you with respect. I talk to you with respect, and I require the same thing. And you're gonna do the same thing. Otherwise, we need to get out of each other's presence. But not just that, but financially, the financial struggle that she faced during the movie, I've been there before. I have 2 children, so being a single mom, I definitely dealt with some struggles throughout these years. My kids are teenagers now, and of course things have gotten better over the years, but we have been through some struggles. My kids have been through it with me, so and it's just been us. So with her as well, she didn't have her child's father there because, as y'all know, why she didn't have a child's father there. But in her mind, as she was raising her daughter all alone, it can be tough, especially if there are, health issues and stuff like that going on. We all know medicine is high, medical bills, all of that stuff, none of that stuff is free. So having to carry all of that alone, it could be a very, very heavy burden. And, gratefully, we do have systems in place in different states and whatnot that can help as far as health insurance and stuff like that, helping with medicine and things of that nature, which we are grateful for. For anybody that can't afford it, you do have resources and stuff that you can reach out. We know EBT, I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but as of right now, we do have resources that some of them weren't even accessible as much as they are now back then. So just I'm grateful for the journey that I've been on, but that was a real eye opener for me, and especially to see what somebody else went through and their struggles. It's like you never know what the next person is going through. Like nobody really knew what she was really dealing with. Nobody around her, the people that were around her, working with her every single day, they didn't have a clue of what her real life consisted of. Yes. So, again, you never know what somebody's going through. So treat people kind, treat people like you want to be treated. It's so hard for people to do that nowadays, and it's like the simplest rule that we learn in like elementary school. So if everybody followed that one simple little guideline, we would be a lot better, off as a whole, because we're all here together. Like we're together. We don't have a choice but to be here together. So we might as well make the best of it while we're here together.
Yeah. Shout outs to Tyler Perry and Taraji.
Yes.
And everybody else that played, because they played that role.
They did.
Um, the one part that really triggered me is the part when she was out there in the rain and the woman had put her out, and she had to pick up her daughter's medicine, and oh my goodness, even just thinking about it, because I've been there. I've been there. Not the fact, the point of picking up medicine, but being out in the rain. Quick, short story. I single, had all three of my babies, one on my hip, one walking, trying to hold his hand, and had him holding the other one's hand, and dragging big old black garbage bags full of our belongings, pulling them, trying to get to the Greyhound station in the pouring rain, and the bags is busted and clothes is coming out. Been there. That is not a good place to be. But look at me now.
Right.
But the fact in the movie, after seeing all that and her going through all that, the ending I was not expecting at all.
Yeah, same.
But the fact that her daughter's passing caused her to basically live another ending, another life. Because when it goes back and it show her making emotions like bringing her child out the house and rushing her child to get in the car, and then you see there's nobody there, that it was really played out up here. The passing of her child affected her to the point where she just built another reality. And we see that being played out every single day. And maybe not to that point, to that point, cause, and I'm going to veer off the movie for a second. Guys do it all the time. Or even women do it. See somebody that they like, they'll create this whole scenario. They done seen them married, they done seen them having kids, they done seen this and they done seen that, done built a whole life in their mind. Same thing. Same exact thing. And then they have to come to reality when the person be like, I don't like you like that. I don't know what made you think I like you like that, but it ain't that. Then the reality, they click and no, that's not gonna happen. They done built out a whole life. That person could be married and happily married. But in your mind, because he winked at you, that's your man. Same thing. Maybe not to that point, same thing. But getting back to the movie, she really went through it. And the fact, all the stuff that she was dealing with, in her mind you, but still, we didn't know that. All the stuff she was dealing with. When that dude, the boss, talking to her like that. Oh no. Oh no. That would have ended quicker. It'd been me. But the fact that she still held it together, and she's so humble, going through it and people talking to her crazy, treating her crazy, and the cop, oh my goodness, don't even get me started. The one that set the ball rolling, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolutely.
And the girl, and the woman too that,
and the woman that excused
pounded her car. And
But you know that's happening today.
It is.
It's happening today.
Absolutely.
But if you hadn't seen it, I would encourage you to go look at it. Because you're going to see some stuff that's going on right now today.
Very prevalent today.
That's right.
Yes. And it also make you see that other people are struggling. When you think you got it so bad. All you got to do is look around. Look around. Somebody got it much worse than you.
Definitely a lot of people.
So it pays to be thankful and it pays to be grateful for what you got going on. Because it can easily, your story can easily be her story. Easily. Easily.
Yeah, I keep seeing people say, or hearing people say, oh, this wouldn't have happened if she had direct deposit and da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's like everybody done been a time where they didn't have direct deposit and they hadn't got their account set up yet, you know, and you had to get that check. You know, everybody done did that before.
That's the younger people that don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Been
Yeah.
through nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Judging.
Yeah, but if one day that direct deposit don't go through and they have to give you a paper check,
Right.
you're gonna be going through the same thing trying to get that
Exactly.
check cash.
That's right.
And he was just being nasty just for the sake of
Just
being
for
No,
the
he
nasty.
definitely was.
Like he could have gave that girl her check.
Mm-hmm.
Might still been alive if you
Right.
gave her her
Exactly.
check.
He definitely wouldn't have
Yeah.
been.
That he saw
Mhm.
her struggling,
Right.
Yes.
and he knew that she needed the help, and he knew she was a good worker because she was working 2 jobs,
Mm-hmm.
and but he wanted to use his power on her, and that's what he did. The crazy thing is that he didn't try to find out what happened, that she took the extra hours that was needed. He just went off somebody else's word, and he was really mean, really mean. The whole movie was really emotional. Looking at it, and looking at the fact that through the movie, I think there was one young lady that really saw what I was trying to, be a help, to her. But in today's world, we could see women struggling with their children financially. We can see them struggling, and a lot of times we don't offer the help. And if we do offer it, it's just like we think that they just need help maybe with the house or whatever, but we a lot of times don't offer the financial help, and that's what they need. And then if they see that they're getting their financial help another way, it's more of the talk that's just going on, and you're not really looking at the fact that that person is trying to live. It may not be the right thing for them to do, but they trying to have a place for over their head, their children's head. And so a lot of times in a community, you will have more people talking a lot of times than helping.
Right.
And then sometimes it's just a simple things as getting the finances in order where you won't struggle as much in those areas, And I think as a community coming together and seeing the need of the people in the community where they need the help at, and instead of, having conversations behind the back, let's see what we can do to be of help to them,
Right.
Whether if it's something you need to, that they need to be fixed, if somebody in the community know how to do it, let's be that community that's pulling together with each other, because sometimes we can take $10 or $20, we'll go to, right to the store, pull a scratch off and don't win nothing, but we can actually bring each other out of situation if we are banding together to be a help to each other. And that's really, like what it's all about, and finding friends in your life that got your back, because that helps a lot. And sometimes you can have friends that be like, oh, don't even worry about it, I just want you up on your feet and doing things. Don't worry about if that person ain't good with the finances, because you could teach a person how to deal with the finances.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we easily give up. I bailed you out the first time. I ain't gonna be doing this. It's easy for us to do that. But if we want to be a good friends, let's stick with them and show them how to do stuff. But we can't all the time like think, oh, they know this, because some people have come up in houses that didn't have proper teaching on how to spend money. They grew up with, mom might have been a spender and dad might have been a saver, but nobody really taught them what life was really gonna be like when they got older. But like it's what you guys have said, we see that every day around us, the different things that people are going through in life, and it's easy to picture those things in our minds, because we want something better. I don't think people walk around just, thinking that they want to be a nobody.
Right.
They want love. They want to have the finer things in life, or next to the finer things in life, And but sometimes it looks like when you don't have anybody right there in your corner that you think you might want to get to, then you do fantasize. It's just that acting on that fantasizing that you got to worry about, because you don't want people to, to think you crazy. And sometimes, I think I was talking to you, earlier, might have been yesterday or something, and I was saying how you can want something so much that you literally think that it's happening to you.
Yeah.
But it's all in your head. For instance, you could want to be pregnant.
That's right.
And you see your stomach poked out, but you ain't thinking that it's because it's bloated, or you may have a tumor or something growing, and it's messing with other things in there that's got them not flowing right on the inside. And then next thing you know, instead of you going and getting diagnosed, you come up with your own diagnosis. Like, oh, well, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, you feel something move.
Because you feel
and
something.
It's gas.
Yes.
It's gas.
Yeah, but you're not looking at it like that, because you really want this thing.
Yes.
And so that is something, how you can think something and you can want something so bad that you'll start to experience that thing, and it's really not a reality, so we can't dismiss that, but we still have to treat those people with cautious, because we don't never want to make nobody feel at their lowest. They're already there, and the fact of being, put out, and the landlord not even being reasonable. Now that was like crazy.
It was.
And I've seen one part once in the movie where she was just reading, looking at the phone like, dang.
Right.
Like
I did that.
And
I started this whole thing.
Yeah, and she did. She literally did, and sometimes people don't have good breaks. They have one bad thing after another just happening, and there's only so much you can take, and then you have a breakdown, But if we can remember that when we feel stuff that's caving on us, just stop and say, God, help me. If you got to go in the room and scream that thing out, release it to Him. God help me, but you gotta ask Him, to help you, and be willing to let Him help you, and He'll send somebody your way. It may not He may not come all the time the way you want Him to come, but He gonna show up. He gonna show up for you, because it is not God's will, to just have anybody, out on the streets and people not being helped, but if you want to be helped, God can send some people to you to help you before everything get, in chaos. And even if He allow that chaos to show up in your life, He got something better. He got something. It may take you a minute, because sometimes things will go on and they'll happen, and you'll be wondering why it happened that way. He be trying to get you from one point to the other, and that point that He's trying to get you to is so much better, and you be like, you are grateful for what you went through. But everybody won't have that testimony. But God is a provider, and He is one that will, give.
I don't know, that it was just so touching. Like,
It was.
trying to be strong amongst all that. Like, how do you? How do you be strong? Like, everybody was against her except for that one friend that really saw her. Even the cops,
And the bankers.
Supposed to protect and serve. Then we shouldn't be surprised. Look at what we got going now today. We ain't gonna go there. But you don't know what people going through. She was at work, and people was in the line talking trash. There she go, always showing up late. Well, at least she was there. Like, come on, you don't know what that woman I've been through.
Right.
And then the fact that she said her child's teacher called and she had to leave, go to school. And then her boss was like, oh my goodness, boy. Yeah, that was very true. You don't know what nobody going through, so you should just treat everybody how you want to be treated.
But I will say, like, when she went to cash that check, to tell her why she didn't get, she kept saying that's what the amount of money that she wanted. How come she just didn't give her the money?
Right.
That she came in there for, instead of making it look like she came to rob the place.
And then was in there writing stuff on the window.
Yeah. Now she needed her butt beat.
And that ending, that Fed guy,
Oh, yeah.
he came there with an intent.
He was nasty.
He wasn't even trying to understand.
Right.
He came there for a reason, and in the end, he did what he came to do. He wasn't trying to hear nothing. But
Great movie. Great.
It was a great movie.
yeah, everybody should look at it. And tell me what you think. You look at it, check it out, and let me know if you see you, if your mirror is reflecting. I'm curious.
Or somebody that you know is reflecting on. So yeah.
And to all you strong women out there, stay strong.
Yes.
But don't try to handle it all on your own.
Right.
Right.
And be able to receive.
We got help out there.
I'm gonna watch the movie again, but I ain't gonna cry this time.
I ain't gonna cry. I might cry this time because when I did see it the first time, I didn't really cry because I was eating dinner and looking at it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch it again, and so I'll be by myself watching it this time. So I probably get a little emotional. Yeah. See something that I didn't see the first time.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
But yeah. Well, this has been another episode of Check That Post Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at Check That Post Podcast, and write a Dear Jen letter to checkthatpostpod@gmail.com, or send a text to 866-311-2251. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy.
Cards.